The hum of the Good Morning America studio filled the air, cameras gliding on their tracks, producers whispering cues through headsets, the audience clapping on command. Everything moved with professional rhythm, a kind of morning show choreography that had been perfected over decades. Yet beneath the easy smiles and bright lights, tension simmered. Mark Wahlberg sat at the center of it all, his posture rigid but polite. His eyes fixed on the cue card Michael Strahan held in his large hands. It was supposed to be simple. A quick promo for Steel Resolve, Mark's new film about resilience and redemption. His team had told him, "You'll talk about discipline, hard work, your faith, the usual. Nothing controversial. Just another morning spot." But the air already felt too heavy, too sharp. "Welcome back to Good Morning America," Michael boomed, his voice rich and familiar. "We've got a legend with us today. Actor, producer, entrepreneur, the one and only Mark Wahlberg." The audience erupted in cheers. Mark smiled, gave a small wave, but it looked tight, almost rehearsed. He'd done 100 of these, and they all felt the same. Surface level, predictable. "Mark," Michael said, grinning, "you've got another hit on your hands, man." Steel Resolve. I saw it. Emotional, intense, and real. "Tell me what drew you to this story." Mark's expression softened. "You know, Mike, I think people are hungry for stories about second chances. I've made mistakes in my life, and I've worked hard to grow. This movie's about that. Putting in the work, owning your past, earning your peace." The audience nodded, clapping again. But Michael's next question shifted tone. He leaned forward, elbows on the desk. "You mentioned hard work, and you're famous for that. Your 3 a.m. workouts, your strict diet, your schedule, it's become, honestly, a meme online. People respect it, but some say it's extreme." Mark chuckled lightly, but his eyes narrowed a fraction. "Extreme? Maybe. But it's just what I do, man. I've got kids, businesses, a career. Discipline gives me structure. It's not about showing off. It's about staying grounded." Michael nodded thoughtfully, but the producer behind the camera raised a brow. They both knew where this was going. "But Mark," Michael continued, his voice still warm but laced with challenge, "you've also said recently that some actors these days are, quote, lazy, that they don't put in the work. That's gotten a lot of attention online. You stand by that?" The audience's collective energy shifted. A ripple of anticipation ran through the crowd. Mark smiled, but there was steel behind it. "Yeah," he said simply. "I stand by it. I didn't mean to offend anyone. I'm just calling it how I see it. You've got people who show up unprepared, who think fame's enough. That's not how it works. You've got to earn your place every day." Michael's grin faltered slightly. "Okay, but don't you think that might come off as, I don't know, judgmental? Like maybe you're putting yourself above others?" Mark's fingers drummed the desk once. His tone dropped a degree colder. "No, I'm not putting myself above anyone. I'm saying we've lost respect for effort. People want results without sweat. I didn't grow up with that luxury." The crowd let out a small, uneasy laugh, unsure whether to clap or stay quiet. Mark didn't notice. His eyes were locked on Michael now. Michael tilted his head, his football player composure still cool. "I get that, man. But not everyone's wired like you. You've got that grind, that Boston edge. But when you tell people they're lazy, especially in your industry, it sounds like you're calling out your peers." Mark's smile thinned. "If the shoe fits," he said, voice low. That earned a few gasps from the audience. One of the co-hosts glanced nervously toward the control booth. The producer behind the camera made the wrap-it-up motion, but Michael wasn't done. "I'm just saying," Michael said carefully, "some folks out there might think you're judging their journey. Everyone's fighting their own battles." Mark leaned forward, elbows on the desk now too. "Yeah, I know that. But that's not an excuse to be lazy. Life's hard, deal with it. You want to be great? You've got to act like it." Michael tried to lighten it with a chuckle. "You're sounding like my old coach now." Mark's eyes snapped toward him. "That's your word, not mine." The air in the studio went dead silent. The control room erupted in nervous chatter, producers debating whether to cut to commercial. The director's voice cracked through the headsets. "Keep it rolling." "This is good TV." Mark straightened up, taking a slow breath, his voice now steady but edged. Look, I'm not here to bash anyone, but I've been around a long time. I've seen people blow opportunities because they'd rather party than prepare. I'm not naming names, but I've earned my right to speak on it. The clip hit the internet before Mark even made it to his car. A shaky phone recording from someone in the studio audience was already racing across social media. Michael Strahan's calm expression. Mark Wahlberg's jaw tightening. The terse exchange about truth and comfort. By the time his SUV pulled away from the Good Morning America building, the moment was everywhere. Mark Wahlberg walks out and Strahan clash were trending by the time he reached his hotel. His phone buzzed relentlessly, texts from his publicist, missed calls from his manager, notifications lighting up like a pinball machine. He tossed the phone onto the seat beside him and stared out the window instead. New York was alive as always, horns, chatter, flashes of color, but it all blurred past him. He was still running the conversation through his head. He hadn't yelled. He hadn't cursed. But something about the way Michael said angry kept replaying over and over. He wasn't angry. He was frustrated. There was a difference. At least, that's what he told himself. When he got to the hotel, his assistant, Lauren, was waiting in the lobby, tablet in hand, face pale. "It's bad," she said quietly as he walked in. "It's all over the feeds. Everyone's got an opinion. TMZ's saying you stormed off in a rage. Entertainment Weekly's asking for a comment." Mark sighed, rubbing the bridge of his nose. "They'll say whatever they want to say. You can't win with this stuff." "Yeah, but this isn't just another clip," she said, walking beside him toward the elevators. "People are debating whether you're toxic or misunderstood. It's spiraling fast." He stepped into the elevator, pressed the button for his floor. "Misunderstood's fine. I'll take that." The doors closed, and for a brief moment, there was quiet. Upstairs, he sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the muted TV showing a replay of the interview. There it was, him and Michael side by side, the exchange looping over and over with dramatic commentary underneath. A headline scrolled across the bottom. Mark Wahlberg loses it live on air. Fans divided over morning show meltdown. He turned the TV off. Meanwhile, over at the Good Morning America offices, Michael Strahan sat in his dressing room surrounded by his own team. The air was thick with post-show tension. A producer scrolled through tweets aloud. Mark was totally right. Michael baited him for clicks. Wahlberg's ego couldn't handle being questioned. Michael exhaled. "It's the same play every time. Clip it, cut it, feed it to the internet." His producer looked uneasy. "ABC's PR wants you to make a neutral statement. Something like spirited debate, nothing personal?" He nodded slowly. "Yeah, that's fine. I'll say it." But when the producer left, Michael sat back and rubbed his hands together. Truthfully, he didn't mean for it to go that far. He'd just wanted a headline, a little tension for the cameras. The network thrived on moments like that. But seeing the clip play back, the look in Mark's eyes, it didn't feel like good TV anymore. It felt like crossing a line. An hour later, Mark's publicist, Trudy, showed up at his suite carrying her laptop and a sense of urgency. "You need to post something," she said, already typing. "Just a short message. Something about respect and misunderstanding." Mark looked at her from the couch. "No." She stopped. "No. I'm not apologizing for having an opinion," he said. "That's how this starts. You give them one apology and they twist it into guilt. I didn't insult anyone. I told the truth." "Mark," she said gently, "the truth doesn't matter on Twitter. The clip matters. The narrative matters." He stared at the floor, jaw tight. "Then let them have their narrative," she sighed. "You know that's not how this works." He looked up at her finally, calm but resolute. "I'm not going to war over a morning show. Let it breathe. It'll die by tomorrow." Except it didn't. By the evening, the clip had hit 10 million views. Late-night hosts were already cracking jokes about Mark's 3 a.m. temper. Commentators dissected the exchange like a political debate. Even celebrities started chiming in, some defending Mark's passion, others siding with Michael's composure. By midnight, Mark couldn't sleep. He walked out onto the hotel balcony, the city glittering below him. He thought about the irony that a man who spent his whole career preaching discipline and control was now being painted as a man who lost it. Hi.